Hi, it's Jan, and this is Rock, Scissors, Paper, and today we're devoting all of our podcast to beginners, card makers that are just starting out and maybe need a little extra help, okay? First, pardon my hair. I got a cowlick back there, I think. Anyway, it looks funny. Um, I'm going to show you what I think you need to start card making. A lot of people will buy everything they see, and then they get frustrated because they don't know how to use the things that they have bought. Or they'll see a really pretty card on Facebook or YouTube or whatever, and they'll want to make that card. And so they buy everything that they think they need for that card, but they realize they don't really have the skill to put it together, so they get very frustrated and they end up throwing the project away and they never look at cards or stamps again. So I'm going to try to help you over some of those pitfalls, okay? What I want to do is show you what's in front of me right now, and you're going to laugh, I'm sure. I would if I was you. Okay, this is my bare minimums of what I think you need to start out with. And they're very simple, very simple. The first thing you need to do is relax, okay? Don't get uptight and crazy. When you watch YouTube and podcasts like this one, or see things on Pinterest or whatever, okay, keep a notebook and do very simple diagrams of a card you like. Just basic squares and hearts and triangles and stuff to let you know the layout of the card. That will help you with your own cards in the future. Don't buy until you know for sure what you need and you know you'd use it again. Always buy the best that you can afford. That's my axiom for anything, clothing or shoes or whatever, because the best that you can buy is going to last you longer and it's going to serve you better. Okay, these are the basic things that I think you need. Okay, and the first one is a ruler, and you can go out. This is a Westcott metal ruler, and I like it because I've had it around for many, many years and it's still hanging in there. You can go buy cheap rulers. I can get them for 10 cents a piece at Dollar General. So you know, you'll always have one that's got numbers on it. But this one I found, it's all etched, so the numbers are very easy to read. If you can find one with raised numbers, it's probably even better. But yeah, choose your own ruler, but I would get the best one you can afford, okay? The cost is going to even out over time, I promise you. You can buy 10-cent rulers, but maybe you break it every time you go out with it, or somebody else breaks it, or the numbers rub off, or whatever. So if you buy a ruler for $5 and it's metal or whatever, maybe that one will last you longer. So that's my number one thing that you need to have. Number two thing is a bone folder. And I have laughed about this every time I picked it up lately, because a friend and a co-consultant of mine said she thought this was the most worthless thing that she had ever seen in her life until she realized what it was for. And we'll go over that a little bit later. So anyway, yeah, the bone folder is really important. Now, I have got all kinds of blues and stuff here. Everybody is going to have their own particular favorite, okay? I mean, everybody. And it doesn't matter how experienced you are or how young you are at doing any craft. These are little tiny glue dots is what they're called, and these are the little ones. I like to have the little ones around because I like to do a lot of skinny ribbons and stuff that I want to hold on. These are the little mini dots from Stampin' Up! That are wonderful because they're semi-permanent. Once you put them down, they're there forever. These are dimensional pieces, and what they are is they're foam, and these are probably about, maybe a little over an 1/8 inch, and they're two-sided. Take one off. You stick one down, you pull the top off, and then you put the other piece on top of it. And I'm not going to let that sit long, because if I do, it'll be permanent there, and I don't want that. So I'm going to set those aside. These are from Stampin' Up!, and everybody that uses them really loves them. This is called Snail Adhesive, and Snail Adhesive is permanent. So a lot of people would rather use the fast fuse because you can move whatever you have that you've put down on the fast fuse if you move it quickly enough, okay? I like both of them for different projects. So that's from Stampin' Up!, and these are both refillable, okay? This is a Scotch Atg Gun. This one I have had since I was framing my own artwork over 30 years ago, and I've had it all that time, and the only maintenance I do on this is every once in a while I'll take the whole thing apart and I'll clean all the rollers and stuff. This I like when I'm doing a lot of cards because it holds 500 inches of tape, and so the chances that you're going to run out are slim, and if you just carry one extra roll with you, you're always ready to go. Now this a lot of people don't like because they can't remember how to thread it, but the directions are inside and it shows you by arrows how you do it. So there's always also directions that come in the package, and when you get your ATG gun, I would take those directions and tape them right on the inside of the gun so that you know you can refer to that every time. And also there are tons of YouTube things on there and all that, so you know if you have that handy, then that way you know how to do it each time. Black ink. If you don't get anything else to start, get black ink. And I choose the Memento black simply because I can use any markers with it. I was a real big fan of Copics until I started using the Stampin' Right and the Stampin' Blends. And a lot of the other inks, they will kind of blend into your ink, but it doesn't happen with Memento. You can also use StazOn, but I think sometimes they do run. So I would use Memento, and I have it in gray and brown and black. But get a black for sure, because that way you can always color your things the right way, okay? Another thing that I like, you need a pair of very sharp pointed scissors. These are from Stampin' Up!, and I like them because they have cover to them, so you can always keep them covered and sharp, but they're really pointy, so they get into little things when you do fussy cutting. And somebody asked me the other day, what's fussy cutting? And you know, card makers use lingo just like everybody else in any kind of business do. Fussy cutting simply is cutting it out by hand, taking an image that you have stamped and colored and cutting that out from perhaps a white card piece. A lot of people don't like fussy cutting. I do, because I think it's very, very relaxing, okay? And the last but not least is a really good paper cutter. Now, this one is from Fiskars. It extends, and I recommend you make sure you get one that goes all the way out to 12 inches so you can cut your 12-inch cardstock with your cutter. Okay, don't get one that's 6 inches or 10 inches, because then you'll get frustrated if you use a piece of 10-inch or 12-inch cardstock. And this one has a lock so that this doesn't flop up and down, and it helps keep it down some. Okay, this is a blotter piece, and Stampin' Up sells them, and I think you can get them other places too. I honestly don't know. And this, I got this from Darice, I think, is who makes these. And it basically, what it is it's just a kind of a hard foam piece. And it's only about maybe a ½ inch thick, but it helps your stamps stamp better. It gives it a little bit of give. Now, the red rubber stamps that you put on, that you see on wooden blocks, or the ones that we carry, the new red rubber, have a little cushion on them already, but it doesn't ever hurt to have a little bit more. Now, I always keep my pad on top of that simply because I can keep the pad clean and I can use this to stamp off. Okay, now those are just basics. Okay, and I have made myself some notes, so I will refer to them. Okay. Oh, I forgot the damp cleaner and the rag. This is from Stampin' Up as well. It's like a chamois, and you just wet it. I actually spray a little stamp cleaner on mine, and a rag of some kind. These I bought at, I believe, Walmart, and you can see they've been used, but this one's clean, believe it or not, but they've been used a lot, and that's just to pat dry your stamps after you've cleaned them, because that way they go back in the container very clean and very dry, so they're easier to get out and put in. Okay, all right, I'm going to put that aside too. Oh, I guess I'm going to mention this. Okay, this is not something that I would have thought of for a first-time card maker, but I really liked reading the British magazines and the Australian magazines. They have very, very elaborate cards. It's not cards that I would do, because I do more simplistic cards. Okay, but this will make envelopes just about any size. Goes all the way up to 10 by 10. And, well, it's actually a little bit more than 10 by 10. So this would make your envelopes for just about any kind of card, square, whatever. So if you can afford it, and you like making cards that are not necessarily of a standard size, then I recommend this highly, because it works so well, and it makes it so easy to make envelopes when especially when you're in a pinch and you run out. You can always take a pattern piece of paper, and there's your envelope. You've got it made already. Okay, so I'm going to set that aside. See if I can't keep from losing things. Now, another thing I can tell you is to go to any workshops, classes, anything that's being held, demonstrations in stores, whatever. Go to as many as you can, because you're going to learn things from each one. And you'll find as you go to these things, you'll also learn things from every person there. The first one I ever went to, I learned something from someone who was there for the first time, who had never made a card in their life. And it was such a simple thing that I had never thought of it. You know, you try to make everything complicated, and everything is not complicated. So you can learn from experienced or brand new people. So go to as many of these things as you can, and try the products before you buy them. That's why you go to the demos and you go to the workshops and all, because most of them will have the merchandise there that you can try. If you don't if you don't try, then you're not going to know whether you're going to really like it or not, okay? So make sure you try all the different types of stamps. There's the clear stamps. A lot of people love them because you can see right where they're going down, where you put it. There's the red rubber, which are my favorite because I think I get a clearer image out of them. And then there's the wooden stamps, the ones on wooden blocks. I don't have many of those because they take a lot of room up storing. That's something you need to always remember, that when you are buying something, you've got to find a place for it to go. And now I don't know if you have a dedicated craft room or if you have a little corner of the kitchen or whatever, but you need to think about your space and how much room these items are going to take up, okay? Another thing that you want to do is to buy something to put all of your items in, okay? Now, I'm going to show you, I'm going to raise this up a little bit. I'm going to show you the one from Stamping Up, and I'll show you why. It has pockets out here. You've got a zipper here, okay? I mean, it's a wonderful, wonderful holder. And then inside, you have 3 separate spaces and pockets, and more pockets, and a big zippered space over here, and it comes with places for these to either hold or a strap to put over your shoulder. And if you can get something like that, it's going to serve you well, because if you can get everything or most everything in one container that you would be taking to workshops and classes, then you'll always have it ready to go. Just make sure you put everything back in there when you're done, and then you're always ready to go to your next class or workshop, okay? Okay, now, another thing when you buy stamps, and I'll tell you, I made this mistake myself, and I think that probably a lot of people do. Excuse me, I have a little bit of cold from this weather changing, I think. There we go. When you buy a stamp, look at that stamp and say to yourself, okay, I love this stamp. Okay, I think it's wonderful, but how much will I use it? Will I use it? Is it versatile enough that I can use it for sympathy and birthday and all of these different occasions? Is it something that is going to be versatile enough to fit any size card? Is it a subject matter that I like? You know, we won't talk about Christmas right now because Christmas stamps, I have drawers full of them. I'm addicted to Christmas stamps, okay? And I think a lot of people are. But anyway, look at those stamps in a way, in more of a business way as opposed to an emotional way. And when you see a card made with a certain stamp set, go online, look on the Stamping Up site, look on Pinterest, and of course Facebook that has all the stamping groups. Look on those sites to see if you can find different cards that you would like to make, and those are the ones you put in your little sketchbook or your notes and say, okay, this one I found in this group by this person, so you can go back and find it again. Now there's a way to save these things on Facebook so that you can view them over and over and over again, so you remember that and you've got half that beat, okay? But decide what kind of stamps that you like, and then try to get only those, but don't not get a stamp set because it's not the kind you want, because you'll find yourself, well, why didn't I get that? I wish I had gotten that. Look how neat that card is that this person did. So like I said, really think about it before you do it, okay? When you find a stamp set that you like, try to buy it in a suite. And you're probably asking yourself, what is a suite? What is she talking about? Well, a suite means that you have the paper that goes with it, and they have that showing in the catalogs. You have ribbon that goes with it. You have embellishment that goes with it. A lot of time there are thin lits that go with it. Thin lits are die cuts that are very, very skinny, and you've seen me use them on the show before. They're if you go out and buy you an air conditioner vent cover, it's magnetic, and cut it up into the pieces to fit your DVD cases. You can keep those thinlits right in there, and they stay flat, and you don't have to worry about losing them, because you can run a copy of the cover of the stamp set that they go with and insert it right into the DVD case. Okay. But that's something important, because that way you don't make the mistakes of color problems. A lot of beginners put colors together because they like them, not because they really go together. So if you're not an artist, or you're not someone who's done painting and all before, so you know the color charts, you might want to make sure you always get a suite. Buy a re-inker when you buy your stamp pads. Oh, by the way, in the suite, it always gives you the suggested stamp pads to get the images that you see in the catalog. Now, you may decide you want other images and other colors, but it's a real good way to start out, because it gives you the information you need. Okay, next is, there is no such thing as a standard size card. And the reason I say that is because you go into someplace like Michael's or Hobby Lobby, and these pre-folded cards that I tell you that I don't like, and the reason I don't like them, I'm going to tell you that because I haven't ever done that before, is that I don't care for the cardstock that's used. It's a little thinner than what I like, and I really like the Stampin' Up! Cardstock the best. It's the best I've ever come across. So that's my opinion. You have to make your own, but that's why. This is what I would call a standard card. This is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and this is kind of a standard small card. It's an invitation size card, and you can buy envelopes for them even at Office Depot or Office Max, if you still have them around. Some of these places have gone out of business. Staples, places like that. So you need to check there for envelopes if you don't buy them through the catalog that you're using, okay? Or get one of the envelope makers and make your own. Either thing is fine. Also, if you go into one of these stores, you're going to find cards that are going to be 5 by 7, which is another basic standard size card, I think. But you'll also find cards that are 4 1/2 by 6 1/2, 5 by 7 1/2. I mean, there are just tons of them out there. So if you've got a specific project in mind that you're looking for a specific size, make sure you check the size of the cardstock or the size of the card before you buy the pre-folded cardstock, okay? If you can afford it, well, I already told you about that. You can make your envelopes out of pattern paper, from the 12 by 12 pattern paper, any size, but some of the smaller ones you can use a smaller size paper too. Okay, look for a website with instructions, or better yet, hold workshops at your house to share your joy with both friends or family. If you can ask a consultant, me or someone else, whoever is your consultant, to bring samples of a set that you either have or you would like to purchase, and that way you get the consultant's ideas on how to use that stamp set as well. Okay, and ask her also to bring samples of items that your guest can play with and use, and she will make a card, and that's what your guests will do while they're there. They'll make a card of that specific stamp set that you like so well, and that gives them an idea if they're going to like it or not too. First-hand construction is always preferable to tutorials, and the reason for that is because you can ask questions. You can ask questions immediately and get immediate answers. Tutorials are wonderful, though, especially the more experience you have, the more tutorials are going to help you with something else. There are no bad mistakes in card making. They're all learning experiences. Believe me, we've all had them. Even the most experienced card maker will tell you that they've had some really bad cards come out. And I keep a few of my duds around just to remind me how easy it is to go awry. And don't always expect a project to turn out like the picture in your head. Whenever I do that, I regret it. I try not to picture the end result in my head simply because I'm always disappointed, because it doesn't ever work out the way that you think it's going to. Be flexible and just kind of go with the flow, and you will always be happy with what you do. And remember to laugh, not just at a bad card, but to laugh at yourself, to laugh with friends. That's what this is all about. It's having fun and enjoying yourself, okay? And one other thing I would really like to tell you is to not try a complicated card when you first start out. Unless you have experience in other crafting where you've had to cut and measure a lot, because a lot of these things depend on really precise measurements, and maybe you don't have all the embellishments that you see on the card, so you're going to be frustrated that way too. Well, I don't have that. What can I use in place of it? Well, that's not going to look as good. You know, you can talk yourself out of knowing that your card is beautiful that way. And once you're comfortable using just the stamps, and that's what I recommend that you start out with just one stamp set and use the stamp set only. Don't try to embellish it or make it, you know, frou-frou-y or anything like that. Just use the stamp set. And once you get comfortable with the stamps and you don't feel like you're smearing, and you know that happens to all of us, then you can go on to embellishing with ribbons and jewels and things like that. Okay. After that, you may decide you want to start adding cardstock behind to give it some more pop for your cards, which I think is really the next step to do, because you can then use a contrasting color or matching maybe lighter or darker color to go ahead and just embellish and help your card along, help it get the look that you think that it needs, okay? And whatever you do, don't buy the newest thing on the market. Now, I say this for good reason, okay? So please bear with me for just a minute. Sometimes new products look wonderful, but they don't pan out. And by not panning out, I mean they end up not selling because they're either too complicated to use. You can't find the pieces that go with it. It's got size restrictions and stuff like that. So get the best you can afford, but make sure it's going to meet your needs. I used to tell people to start out with the Cuttlebug, but Sizzix they're taking the Cuttlebugs off the market, so you can't get replacement parts for them anymore. So now I'm telling people, go with a big shot to start, because if you go with the big shot, it's got a wider base and it's usually going to handle everything you want. If you want to go with a machine that is electric, like the, oh gosh, I can't think of that guy's name. I don't know why I can't. Tim Holtz, okay, or Gemini. I have two Geminis, and I love them because they have like a 12-inch base, so you can put anything through them. The Tim Holtz has a smaller deck, so you can't put everything through that, okay? So make sure when you buy something like that, you're getting something that's going to be versatile enough for you. I find that the Big Shot does everything I need to do. When you're working on cards as opposed to scrapbooking, cards usually have smaller pieces, so a Big Shot is perfect for that, okay? Now, what we're going to do for the next few minutes, I want to show you, I did not make any cards with these, okay? This is the leftovers from the paper pumpkin kit that you saw the other day that I told you was just precious. So we're going to use these to put together a card. Now, like I said, I haven't put one together, so this is kind of a learning experience for me too. These are the stamps that go with it, and these are the pieces you'll have left over after you do all your little boxes, your little Valentine boxes. My favorite has got to be the chameleons. I just love them. The kangaroo's cute too, but I love the chameleons. And this little sign that goes with it, the thing says you're one in chameleon, and I think that's precious. So what I'm going to do is pretend that I'm a very new person for cards, and I'm going to make a card with my stamp set. Another thing I want to do is maybe, since I'm not going to be using any cardstock this time, maybe what I'll do is I'll use a background too. There's a heart here, so I'll get a little block, a little tiny, okay? And these are some of my favorite colors. These are all pretty well new this year. It's Granny Apple Green, Mint Macaroon, Sahara Sand, Soft Suede, and Balmy Blue. And these are all pastels. You might want for your heart a red, but since these are pastels, I kind of think I'll go with a pastel for these too. And I think I'll go with the Mint Macaroon. This has really become one of my favorite colors. It's just such a pretty green, and it's kind of a blue green, like kind of an aqua, I think is what I would call it. Okay. Now what you're going to do is your card is folded already, and I would recommend that for doing a background. And you can make some of them lighter. Oops, that was interesting. But just kind of willy-nilly put them on there, and that way you've got a custom paper for your card. And there you go. I mean, you can do it any way you want. I just thought the heart would be cute since it's kind of a Valentine theme, okay? And then we're going to take our chameleons, and I think we'll put them just slightly offside to the center of the card there. And we're going to take our, you may like blue instead, you may like paste. Use whatever you're comfortable with. Don't let somebody talk you into something because they like it. Because if you don't like it, it's going to cause you grief, and we don't want to cause you grief. We want you to have fun doing this. Okay, so we've got our chameleons here. Let's see. And I'm going to put them, I think, right there. Okay, there's our chameleons. Now we're going to take our, this one says you're one in chameleon at the bottom, and I think we're going to put that right to the side. Now this is where the punches come in handy, because you can punch out a little label, or you can just go with this, you're one in chameleon. It's a very simple card, very simple, but it's something that as you get comfortable using these, you can enhance them more. Okay, now we're going to do basically the same card. I'm going to leave these out, and I'm going to put one of these pieces of paper behind it. Now this is from what they call tropical leaves, I think, but I think we're going to use one of these anyway because I like this paper. And these are all double-sided, so you can use either side you want. And for the chameleons, it would work out perfect because there's a pink and a green. So, and we'll need our cutter for this, our paper cutter, because these are 6 by 6 pieces. I am going to cover up my ink here. You always want to do that. There we go. Okay. And we're going to cut this. Our card, remember, is basically a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So what we want to do is we want to cut it 5 1/4, and this will give you a full background. Okay, 5 1/4 by 4, or 3 3/4. Let's do 3 3/4. Okay. One thing to remember is always buy a couple of extra blades for any cutter you get. Okay. Okay. We got some more cardstock here. Some of our pre-folded, and this is what a bone folder is for. It takes out all that extra stuff that you've got left on the card, and it keeps it flat. It's really, really handy to have. And this one, this is one of those that was not standard. Remember I told you about that. Sometimes you get non-standard size cards when you buy the pre-folded. Now, this is pre-folded stuff I have had for many, many years. And if you wonder what I'm using here, my cutter is getting a little dull. I'm going to have to change the blade on it. But this is actually from a manicure set. It's a buffer that you use on your nails, but it takes off the rough edges of the paper really, really nicely. Okay, since this is not a standard size, and we are going to measure it now to see. I should have done that to start. This is, okay, it's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Well, what did I do? Maybe I cut this wrong. Let's see. Yeah, 3 3/4 by 5 1/4. Well, this needed to be cut down a little bit more, so that's, and sometimes you have to do that. Sometimes if you don't like the look you've got, that's why you make cards. That's why you can change them to suit your to suit whatever you're doing. And here, see, we have rough edges again because that blade needs to be changed. Okay. And then this will be our background on our card. And again, this is like if you bought a suite, you would have the colors that would match your images with ribbon and everything showing. Okay, so we're going to put this down so we can have as close to equal white on all sides. And then we can take our, let's take our kangaroo this time. There he is, okay? And we're going to put him on. And again, you can use one of the dimensional tiles on this, or you can use a flat. I use the dimensional on the kangaroo, so he sticks out a little bit anyway. Okay, now this is where I would probably want to use a darker color to stamp a cinnamon on here. And since it's close to Valentine, we're going to use Hey Valentine. And I think one of my favorite darker colors, well, I don't know that we're going to use blackberry. I love the blackberry, but I think it might not look as good with this. So let's turn our inks around here, and I think we will use, yes, Shaded Spruce. Shaded Spruce or Tranquil Tide would be nice with this. these are all things that you'll learn the colors as you go. Don't expect to remember all of them all the time, because that'll frustrate you too. And as you can see, these are the red rubber stamps, and you put the information right on it, so you always know what you're stamping. And then we've got Hey Valentine, and that does show up quite well. So there we've got another simple card. Doesn't take any time to put together, but do this one first and get a feel for the stamps, okay? And then do something with the pattern paper or whatever. Okay, I did not want to make this a long podcast, simply because I didn't want you people to have to sit there for an hour and listen to me talk, because that's what mostly this was about, okay? But anyway, I want you to try these things out and work on them. When you buy that paper pumpkin kit, it actually, you can use these 2 stamp sets with it. This is Hey Love and this is Animal Outing. And either one of these would make really cute cards to go with this, or Valentine's little gifts, the little boxes. There's so many things you can do. But if you can get stamp sets that kind of match your theme that you're going for, you can do more with it, okay? Don't overbuy though. Get what you want, but don't get what you need, but not necessarily what you want, because you're going to want everything, okay? But yeah, take a stamp set that's like this one. Okay, this one's called High Tide, and this is a favorite of Stampin' Up, because you got the water, you got the lighthouse and nice little things, and the water and all this. This is a perfect set to do simple stamping with, because it will cover the entire card. You won't have to use any cardstock behind it or anything like that. So keep that kind of thing in mind. And if you are watching this and you want a catalog, or you want more information, or you have questions that you really need to ask, please write the questions down, put them on a message, and I will get them and I will answer as quickly as I see them, okay? Thanks a lot for watching. You all have a great day, and I will see you again on Sunday night, okay? Sunday night at 6, okay? Bye. Again, and back from Rock, Scissors, Paper on TCC TV. Obviously, we're not on TV, but we're coming live into your homes on Facebook. And I hope that you are going to join us today, because we're going to go wild. I know that sounds weird, but we're going to go from the farmyard to the jungle, and show you a few new sets that are coming out, or that are already out. Whew, my hair is weird. I don't know. Maybe it's because I was going wild. So anyway, we're going to get right into it, because I have several that I want to show you, and a lot of them are from one set. So I wanted to show you the different things you can do. Okay, the first one we're going to do is going to the farmyard, and here it is. Hope you can see it really well. I think I got that down a little too low. There we go. And this one says, thanks for your friendship. I think you could use this for lots of other things, but I, at first, when I got this, didn't know what I was going to use the rooster for, because I don't live out in the country. I live in the city. It's a small city, but it's still a city. But I got to working on this, and I really enjoyed doing it. So we're going to get to that right away. I'm going to set it aside for now, and I'm going to show you what I did. Okay, we've got this on a white basic card. And again, this is one of those pre-folded cards that you and I don't like all that well, but we're too cheap to get rid of. So use our foam folder to flatten it out just a little there. Okay. All right. Now, the next thing I did was I took the tintype plate from the Stampin' Up catalog that is shown with Home for Christmas stamps and all. I really, really like this because you can do it in different colors and it gives you a different look each time. Now, this pre-folded card seems to be a little smaller than some, so let's see if we've got another one in here that might be normal, whatever normal is. Okay, well, I don't see it. Well, here we go. Let's try this. See if one of these is a little bigger, because that one seems to be extra small. Is it? Yes, it is. I was right. I knew that there was something wrong there. Okay, so we'll go ahead and we'll use the bone folder on that one. And then this should be cut actually a little smaller than it is. I cut it just to run it through the machine, the regular size of the card. So we're going to cut it down just a little. I love the way I have my room set up now, and you guys probably recognize the fact that I can reach everything I need. Okay, now our card, our insert here, the tintype needs to be a 1/4 inch less all the way around. And what that does is that gives you a little white border all the way around. You do not have to do that. I know a lot of people who don't bother to cut that down any. They just leave it the right size of the card. I just kind of like to have the border showing a little bit. Now, what I did with this one, I don't know if you can see it too well, but I took a little scrubber and I kind of antiqued it a little. So we're going to take Cajun Craze, which is kind of a dark reddish brown color, and we're going to take our scrubber right here, and we always want to, when you tap it, you want to make sure you're not getting too much color before you do it. And then you just kind of willy-nilly go over it. You don't have to make it perfect. You can do darker in some places, because if you've ever been in an old country kitchen that had this tin plate, you realize that oxidation and, you know, cooking, grease, that kind of stuff, it makes it different colors, and it doesn't really matter if you clean good or not. You're still going to have the different colors on that plate. And I don't know why. I'm not a scientist. I don't claim to be. So, but that's what I did to give that antique look. Now, I did it a little darker this time than I did the first time around. That's okay, because every card should be unique anyway. Okay, next thing we're going to do, just make sure it fits good. It does. So we're going to set that aside, and we're going to take a small piece of white cardstock here, and we're going to cut it down. I thought I had one cut down, but I don't see it. So we're going to measure, because you know I always have to measure twice. So this is 3 by 4.5. So, and that's going to give us the size we need for our little background for our chicken there. So we want 3 by 4.5, just like that. Okay, we're going to set that aside because we'll need another piece for the chicken. Okay, and now what we're going to do is we're going to take our Home to Roost. That's the new set. This is one of the free sets that you can get from the Celebration catalog. So you go through that catalog that we've got now, the newest one out, and I guarantee you, you'll find plenty of stuff to get this. This is only for $50. You get this free. So, and that's $50 worth of other stuff. So you get this free on top of that, and this is probably about a $22 set. So you're getting a real good deal there. And it's got enough stamps in it that you can really enjoy using it. Now, I took the grass, I think it's supposed to be wheat maybe, and I took that out, but I decided instead of doing just one color, and I'll show you on this, I did a couple of different colors just to give it a little oomph. And so we're going to start with the crushed curry because it's light-ish, and we're just going to do it all the way across. I don't know, you guys are probably more, some of you are more farmers than I am for sure. I had farm experience from being a kid because my mother grew up on a farm, so we were there semi-frequently. So I noticed then that the wheat always seemed to ripen at different stages, so that's why I decided I would make my background here a little different in color and not keep it all just one color. Okay, and we're going to use the Cajun Craze again to give us a little darker color in there. And you really don't have to stamp off the ink on there because it's not going to hurt it, and you're going to clean it after all anyway. So there we have our background for our chicken, and I'm going to go ahead and clean this. This is the new cleaning cloth that you've probably seen in the recent catalogs. It looks weird, it looks like it's dirty, but it's not. It's been cleaned. And what I did was I just put it in one of these plastic boxes to help keep it solid and in one place. And then I also put a little of the stamping cleaner on it, a few drops before I start doing any projects. And as you see, it cleans the stamps beautifully. So we're done with this one, and we're going to go ahead and put it back. And I hope you noticed that I left the red rubber in here so I could always know where the stamps were going to have to go. Okay, next thing we're going to do, we're going to take this little piece and do our chicken because we're going to cut him out. And I hear some groans out there already. Yes, I know. I love to fussy cut, and you don't. But you know what? Fussy cutting is good for the soul. Didn't you know that? Because it gives you the opportunity to exercise your childhood again. So we're just going to rub that across the cloth a little, and then we're going to take our multicolored dishcloth that I bought specifically for this and clean it up. Cleans up so pretty. I just love that. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and stamp our sentiment on here. And I use Thanks for the Friendship. I almost dropped it too. You can use whatever you want. There are several on this. There's Just a Note, Missing You, Enjoy the Simple Moments. I mean, you could use these for several different things, but we're going to go ahead. No, I don't want them in that color. I don't know why I did that. I wanted them in the green. See, I do things sometimes a little crazy. So let's make sure, yeah, we got green now. Okay, Thanks for the Friendship. Now, again, you can use different colors. You don't have to use the same colors I did. These just reminded me of farm colors, so that's why I used them. Now, you may have a different idea about farm colors since you're probably more farmers than I am, or at least you know more farmers. So, but for me, that was my farm colors. So we're done with the stamps right now, unless you choose to put something inside your card. This one I left blank because I hadn't decided yet exactly what I want to put in there. So, but we have our background, we have our sentiment, and we can go ahead and put that down. If you want, we can put it offset like I did on the first one, or we can put it right in the middle. And this time I think we're going to put it right in the middle. But I want to go ahead and do that so we can have these pieces down and not have to worry about them floating around any place. You can see the huge difference of the color of this by doing the little scrubbing with the scrubber there. Okay, now we're going to put down our wheat and our sentiment. I don't know if this is wheat. It looks like wheat to me. I guess it could be winter grass too. Okay, now we have that down. Now, for our chicken here, for a rooster, I have seen tons of different kinds of them. Like I said, my mother grew up on a farm in Tennessee, and they had so many different kinds of chickens there. I had a fear of birds because when I was 3 years old, they sent me down to the creek to find my cousins, and they told me to go across the guinea hen pen because that was the closest way. Well, it may have been the closest way, but it wasn't the way to my heart because I was scared to death of the guinea hens. And of course, they wouldn't hurt you, but they rushed me. And, when you're 3 years old and 3 foot tall, that's very threatening to you. Okay, now I am just kind of remembering what some of the chickens that I saw looked like. And you don't have to be perfect with this. That's the thing I kind of like about, because hens all were kind of different. They all had different colors in them. They all had different strutting patterns. I used to kind of like to watch them, but I got kind of traumatized when my mother had to go out and kill a chicken for dinner one night. I didn't know people did that, I was a little city girl, had no clue. So I was a little shaken up by it. Okay. By the way, if you haven't purchased any of these Stampin' Writes or the Stampin' Blends, I recommend you at least get a set of 2, a light and a dark, and try them because they are really, really wonderful to use. Not only are they pointed enough to be very precise, but they blend so well as well. So I just highly recommend them. You can do little skinny things or you can do big fat things, and it works just as well with all of them. Okay, we're going to blend a little bit more orange in there. I like the orange in the hens. Okay, and we're going to put in a little ground underneath him, just regular. Oops, that one doesn't like that in very well. There we go. We're going to put in a little dirt because he wouldn't probably be standing right on the weed. The farmers would come after him if he did that. So now we're going to take our little scissors and we're just going to cut him out. And again, you don't have to do this exact. You can have a little white around him if you want. When I cut out flowers in particular, I like to leave a little white, simply because I think that you see the flowers better with that little bit of white left in there. Please excuse me. I do not have a cold, but I've had a really dry throat for several days, and every time I start talking, I start coughing. So I do have a cup of coffee in here, so maybe I'll take a drink or two of that and try to head off most of the coughing. Okay, now I don't know if you noticed it, but I did. We're still not done cutting here. And leave some of the feathers a little longer than the others, because I guarantee a chicken's feathers aren't all the same length, okay? I know this because I picked them up. I've collected them when I was little, so I know. And I could never find two the exact same length for some reason. And you can cut this so that it suits your mood, okay? Don't let anybody tell you that you've done it wrong if you haven't done it like they did it, because it's your card, by golly, and you can do anything to that card you want. You can make this chicken black, because I've seen black chickens, okay? So we won't criticize anybody for any color of chicken. I even saw a multicolored one on the internet one time. Okay, what I did forget to do was to give him a beak. He can't eat without a beak, so we're going to give him a beak and cut down around that. I didn't cut it because I didn't want to mess it up before I colored it. Okay, there he has a beak, and we're going to give him a little beady black eye. I think chickens have black eyes. As far as I know, that's all I can remember, is that they have black eyes. So, and he needs to look where he's going, because otherwise, how would he find his food, right? Okay, so we're going to put him kind of right there on the end of the field there. Okay, and what I would like to do with him, instead of just putting him flat, is I want to give him a little height. We want to give him some animation here. So we're going to put him on some, I think these are 1/8" pop dots. There's some of them that are bigger than that, and maybe I will cut one in half. Oops. So I can get to it. Oh, weird. This came off the roll, and it's been doing some strange things for me, or to me, or whatever, maybe both. We're going to take half of this to go up here around his head, and then we're going to take the other half, wherever it went, on my scissors, and we're going to cut it into, again, usually they do stick to the scissors, but not always. And we're just going to put that on his dirt that he's standing on, just so it's got a little platform too, because otherwise it'll be really, really funky looking. Okay, there he is. We're going to put him down in the field. So there's our chicken, and that's kind of our basic card. The only other thing I want to do is, this is another thing that's new to the catalog, and I love them. These are clear hearts, and I hope you can see that they're clear. Maybe against my red sweater you can tell. But you can color them any color you want. So we're going to make one orange to match our chicken. You don't have to be real neat. Just color it in. Let it dry a little. If you don't want to be orange, you don't want to pick it up too soon. And then, here we go. This is also a relatively new tool that comes, and that I love. I'm using it to death now. Once I started using it, I want to use it with everything. And we're just going to put a little heart underneath the friendship. And the little paddle picks it up so neatly, and it comes in its own little case and everything. There you go. There's our chicken. So we've been to the farm today, and I hope you like our little chicken, because I do. I've been very, very impressed with him, much more so than I thought I would be. So I'm going to set these aside. And I see that Lisa Johnson's with us. Angela McDonald is here. Susan Mitchell's here. Hi, Susan. Lisa Johnson is sharing, okay? Well, we're going to the jungle now, so get ready for the wild, I guess it's south would be the jungle, huh? Anyway, I picked up the set of stamps called Hey Love. Now, I picked this set up. Oops, let me get a little bit more there to show. I picked this set up because I wanted to do Valentine's favors with it. And I thought this would be so cute for that. And they show them in the book even. And I mean, you know, I'm sorry, but if I like something in the book, I'm going to copy it. And this is so darn cute with its little Valentine candies and these things on the top. Pull your catalog out and look at it, because they're not hard to make, but they're very, very cute. And if you have kids in school that like to take little treats with them, this would be a perfect thing to do. Now, the bags that they show are very inexpensive, like $3.50 for maybe 30 or something like that. So it doesn't cost much at all. Now, if you think it's too much candy, you can always cut the bags in half or cut them down a third or whatever you want to do. So that's up to you. But anyway, we're not going to do those bags, okay, because I'm going to do those at Sweet Temptations, I think, this next Saturday. So join me there if you'd like to make some of those too. But we are going to make some cards that your kids could give to their friends, or you could give the little Valentine treat with a card to a friend of yours, to a co-worker. I just found these little guys so cute. I fell in love with every single one of them. And the one that I liked the least, quite frankly, was the bird, not because I'm afraid of birds, okay? I know that's what you were thinking. But because he was so little, I thought, oh my gosh, I don't think he's going to show very much. But I did like everybody else, even the otter. I thought he was really cute, but I didn't really know what color otters were, so you're going to have to bear with me there. So I'm going to put the stamp set aside, and I'm going to show you my Otter card. And I thought it turned out really, really cute. And it just says, "You oughter be my Valentine." And it's very simple. It's not something that's going to take a lot of brain power, a lot of measuring. It's just real simple. You literally cut your cardstock here in half and fold it. And if you're smart, which I'm not being today, you go ahead and you score it before you fold it. I don't always do that, and sometimes I regret it because I end up with a card that's kind of wonky, but this time I didn't. So, and that's an envelope that I don't need. Okay, the next thing we need is, we need to cut a piece of this paper. Now, I used the pink dots. It looks like kind of like a barcode, but this is all from the same set, and I decided I really wanted to use all of them. So each card that I make, I'm trying to use a different one. So we know that our card is 4 1/4, or it should be, so we have to check that. Yep, that's 4 1/4. So basically what we want to do is decide how much of our border that we want on there. I mean, I didn't think we needed a lot, and I thought that the otter was the most important thing. So I thought about maybe 1.5 inches or 2 inches. You can kind of make that determination on your own. Everybody will decide they want a different amount, okay? And no amount is wrong. No amount is right. They're all just going to be different. And then what we're going to do is just glue him down. Like I said, this is a very simple card. This is something that you will find easy to make. Even if you cut the pieces, even the little ones in your family could help you make these, and they would probably really get a kick out of that, okay? Now, we need a piece of white cardstock that seems to go awry every time I look for one. I don't know why, but thankfully I have plenty. So I just go back up to my stock here and grab a piece. Okay, I don't know what happened to the piece I cut already, okay? So we're going to measure our otter piece, and it's going to be, we don't want it in millimeters. A lot of us don't know what millimeters are. 3 1/4, and it should be 3 1/4, I believe. 3 1/2, okay? 3 1/4 by 3 1/2. So that's what we want to cut our little white piece to. Okay, so we go 3 1/4. Well, let's go 3 1/2. It's easy. 3 1/2. Now I have plenty of white. And 3 1/4. Now you can also stamp this on a big sheet and then cut it out if you want. You know, it's your choice. Don't do it this way just because I did it this way. Okay, we're going to get our otter out here. I like him because he's got a little heart in his thought process there. I just think that's so cute. I just really like all of these critters. I'll tell you, I didn't think I was going to like them this much, but I just flat fell in love with all of them. So let's see here. I had out here in my lovely trick here, I had all of my pads. Well, I guess we did him in black. I didn't think I did. I thought I did him in gray, but black's good. You know, for cartoonish looking characters, I think stamping them with that black outline is fine. There's no reason why you can't do it. So we want him just down far enough to make the put the sentiment in, okay? And I'm going to clean him up, put him back, and get the sentiment. And we want Otter be my Valentine, so let's make sure we get the right one. Okay, there's Hey Valentine. You Otter be my Valentine. There it is. Good. Okay. So that we're definitely going to do in black as well. This is black Memento. A lot of times you'll see people use the Memento ink, especially if they're going to color with the alcohol color pencils or pens, I mean, because it dries faster and more color fast, so you don't have to worry about it getting muddy. And that does happen sometimes with markers, with any marker, but especially with alcohol markers. So you do want to be careful that way, okay? All right, now we've got our otter here, and all we have to do is color him in. And like I said, please bear with me. If this is not otter colors, don't tell me, because I'm going to be depressed if it's not. We're just going to make him 2 shades of brown. I thought after I did this, I wonder if he's not maybe got some red in him. I don't know. I know I've seen an otter, and I think I've seen them even at zoos, but I swear to you, I can't remember what color they are. And I guess I could have looked it up on the internet. You can find anything on the internet. But I elected just to go for it and give him a little darker tummy, because I figured he'd have a darker tummy. I don't know why I figured that, but I did. And it just give him a little bit of definition around his feet and his body, so he doesn't look one-dimensional so much. Okay? And then we're going to go over this with this lighter color again. And these, if you wanted to know, this is crumb cake and dark crumb cake, okay? And you can go over the whole thing. You don't have to be careful about where you're going because it will all blend together, okay? Now, he's a little darker than the first one I made, but that's okay. He can be different. He doesn't have to be the same. And, of course, we want to give him eyes to see. Of course, he's got his eyes closed because he's in love. Give him a nose to smell and a little mouth to smile as well, okay? So there we go. And then I'm going to give him a little cloudy-like thought here. I don't know what thought clouds should be blue, I think. I don't know. And then we're going to, of course, color his heart the only color it could possibly be colored, and that would be red. And like I said, I fell in love with these guys. I was working on these yesterday at Outright Affair, and I thought, oh, these are just the bee's knees. I love them. Okay, now what did I do with my card? Is this it? Yes, okay, good. So this we're just going to kind of center, okay? Now, you could put ribbon on this. You can put sparkles on it. There's all kinds of things you can do to glitz it up. I like these little enamel dots, and these are in the catalog as well. And I thought they were just precious, and I thought that's what I wanted to use. So the nice thing about using this little spatula is that you don't get glue on yourself, and it doesn't take all the others off as well if you're patient, which I'm obviously not. Okay, there we go. And you can, I took 3 sizes. I took the small, the medium, and the large. You could take 3 large or whatever, float your boat there. Okay, come on, get off there. There we go. Yeah, we got to scoot him over. It's another thing I like about this, it scoots well. There we go. Now we've got 3 little ceramic dots there, and I think it's a cute card. I would be happy to send that to any of my friends because it looks like something you'd send to a friend rather than a lover, okay? But these are cards that you can do with kids. These are cards that teenagers would probably get a kick out of because it's a play on words, okay? So that's our first one. That's our otter. And I don't know if he's in the jungle. I guess he'd be more in the forest than the jungle. But next one we're going to do is my absolute positive favorite, and that is the bird. Okay, let me show you the bird. What I did with the bird was I used glimmer mist, or not glimmer mist, but Wink of Stella on it to make him shiny. Maybe you can see that, I hope so. And I just put a sideways color bar on there and Hey Valentine. Again, very simple, a lot of fun, and not something that's going to take you forever to do, but you can just have lots and lots of fun with it because it's a good way to figure out how to use some of the little jewels and embellishments that you haven't used. I had these little green flowers from another set in our new catalog, and I hadn't used them on anything, and I thought, oh, that'll be perfect for that little bird. He'd probably like those flowers. So we're going to show you how we did that. We've got a 1/2 piece of our Granny Apple Green cardstock. We're going to fold it in 2 like we do. Use our bone folder to close it good. There we go. And we're going to measure this to see what size it should be. Does your ruler run away? Mine does sometimes, and I haven't figured out why. I'm very nice to it. This is 2 1/4 by 4 1/2. Now, I think I use that size a lot. I don't know why. It just seems to work really well. So we're going to go 2 1/4, just like that, by 4 1/2. Now that's not right. It must be 3 1/4, but we're going to go 2 1/4 because I cut it 2 1/4. And that's a nice thing about doing cards is you can change them any way you want. And so since I did that, and I have another piece of this, that might be kind of fun to put in there too. So let's go ahead and let's just cut, say 1 inch off. Okay. This is what I like doing, is kind of designing on the spot. And we'll make it maybe 4 1/2 as well, just so it's equal. Okay, and I think we'll just set it maybe crossways, just to give it some extra interest there. And like I said, when you're doing cards like this, you really shouldn't obsess over whether they look exactly like the card you thought they were going to look like or not, because a lot of times what you end up with is far better than what you thought you were going to make. And I have gotten really into making these crooked backgrounds. Don't ask me why. I don't know why. But we've got a Hey Valentine here, and it is cut the right size, believe it or not. So we're going to take our Hey Valentine out and put it on our block. Now remember, these are with the new sticky stuff on the back, okay? So don't try just pulling them off and thinking that that's going to work and it's not going to hurt your stamp or anything. You really need to be careful when you pull them off. You have to do it a little bit slowly. This is a really juicy pad. I must have just inked this one. Okay, here we go. Hey Valentine. Perfect. Okay. Going to clean it up a little. We don't want that black ink sitting there. And put it back. Okay. And we're going to put it right toward the bottom. Okay. You just want a little bit of both colors showing, just so that you can say, I did that on purpose. You know, you never want to admit to anybody that you made a mistake. You want to say, yeah, that was my own creative touch. Don't you like it? Okay, so here we're going. Hey Valentine. Okay, and here is my 2x2 piece of cardstock that I cut. See, I didn't cut some of these. I don't know why some of them got lost, but anyway, we're going to take our bird and we're going to set him on our block, hopefully straight up, and we're going to again do him in the black ink. I'm going to try not to ink so much there. There we go. Sometimes you have to be gentle with the inkers. Okay, and then we're going to put him literally right in the middle. Okay. Oh, I really like this bird. He has got so much class. I'm telling you, he is my new hero. Okay, now you don't want to put him on until after you've colored him. And since we're using some colors of Glimmer Mist, or I don't know why I keep calling it Glimmer Mist. It's Wink of Stella. We're using some colors here, and so they're going to be very bright from the beginning. Now, I looked at this bird, and all I could think about was South America, and it should be green. Don't ask me why. I have no idea. But if you color him in, and the Wink of Stella is very liquid, so you want to be kind of careful that you don't put it someplace where you don't want it, okay? And I wanted his tail feathers to be green as well. There we go. Now, obviously, I didn't want the whole bird green, so I was going to make his wings silver, which I did in that one, but I think we're going to make them red just for giggles. He's a bright bird, so. And they'll match his lovely heart that's beating for somebody. We don't know who. Maybe an elephant. Maybe he likes an elephant. Never know, do you? Okay, now we'll take our silver and do his feet with those, just because that'll give the black a little shiny part. And then we have his nose, of course, which is not going to be any color probably. That's his beak will be orange. And I don't have an orange wink of Stella. I don't know why, but I don't. And then we've got to give him some nice black eyes so he can see, okay? And I'm going to find out where his eyes would be because we covered them up with the wink of Stella. But I love, 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 love this bird. Okay, now we're going to take him, make sure he's completely dry, and we're going to put him down right at the top. Okay, and he's going to go right here. Again, I'm going to put him kind of right in the middle of this so you get both colors on the side. And I'm then going to take my little flowers that I had, and I'm going to pull those off and just give him some flowers. I mean, you know, if you're giving a Valentine to somebody, you'd give them flowers, wouldn't you? So, there we go. Simple, fast, and really, really cute. And I hope you like these cards. I have a bunch more going, but we're not going to take up all your day watching card making today. But really, I recommend buying this set because you will find so many fun uses for it. You'll love it. And it's not terribly expensive. It doesn't have thin cuts with it. But it's perfect for Valentine's, but it's also perfect just for friends. So anyway, that is going to be our show today. I hope that you've enjoyed that as much as I enjoyed making those cards. I really did enjoy it. I'll tell you, I had a good time yesterday doing that. And if any of you are in the area, I would love for you to join us next Saturday at Sweet Temptations at 10 o'clock. We're there from 10 to at least 1, sometimes 2. And if you'd like to come in and make cards, we'll always have at least 10 choices, and it's only $2 a card. Everything is cut for you. All you have to do is put them together. And you can pick up a box, take it to your table, have a cup of coffee or some French toast or whatever floats your boat, okay? But enjoy making cards. Any card you make, always have fun at it, and don't get stressed if something doesn't come out the way you thought it should, because I guarantee you with card making, you can always fix it, okay? You all have a great, great Sunday, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye. Hi everyone, we're live again here on Sunday evening, and I'm not going to be talking a lot. I'm just going to tell you really quickly that I may be stopping our podcast that we do on Wednesday afternoons. It seems like a lot of you have a hard time getting into the Wednesday afternoon time slot. If you would put on this podcast somewhere, even if you see it later in the week, a time and day that would be more convenient for you to watch a podcast. We may change it to another day depending on the mass, whoever, how many want it the most, okay, most days. So it's your choice, so make sure you put your vote in, okay? today we are going to talk about alternative methods for doing your stamping and card making. This last weekend I did this little card at Sweet Temptations, and I'm there every Saturday from 9 to 1, or 10 to 1, I'm sorry. And this one was done with watercolor pencil and the watercolor little doohickeys here with the brush and the water in them. They're wonderful to do because you can have a very light touch, or you can add more color as you wish. I did this one then today just for fun, just play around with it again. And you can see I used a little bit different coloring technique. But I got to thinking that a lot of you have probably used the watercolor pencils and may be more proficient at watercolor. But then I got to thinking, I wonder how many of you are proficient at colored pencils. Now, we have a lot of these in our yard through the year. This is called a Chickadee, and you probably recognize, at least I hope you recognize it as such. This is all done in color pencil. A lot of people do not know that color pencils are actually oil-based. They if they don't have enough oil in them, they're very brittle and they don't really color as well. I tend to use Prismacolors because I've used them for years and I like the density that they give me. But we're going to do this literally on this podcast. I did a second one. I haven't actually finished this one yet. This one is believe it or not, this is a wren. I know a lot of wrens don't look this color. They look, a lot of them are brown, especially the barn wrens and the tree wrens. This one was just noted as a house wren. Don't ask me what a house wren is because I really don't know. But I thought he was very pretty because of although he's black, if you look at him in certain light, you'll see the blues and purples and greens come through. Now, I haven't actually finished this one, but I did finish the little Chickadee. Now, I use Memento ink to stamp my images with, simply because this is the London Fog. It's a gray color, and you can see, gives you enough of an image to really see where your pattern is. But it's not heavy-handed, so when you use light colors over it, it doesn't overwhelm it. You'll have to excuse me. I had picked up a frog in my throat somehow. Anyway, I did a couple of extra images, but I don't think we're going to have time to do more than one. One thing about using either color pencils or watercolor. Watercolor is a little faster. Color pencil, it takes some time to do properly. And I hope you'll enjoy this demonstration because I'm going to show you how you really should do it and do it properly. With the color pencils being oil-based, you can use different mediums to go over them. You can use mineral oil to smooth the colors out if you wish. I don't feel like mineral oil is really necessary in most cases. I think you can get all of your shadows and all of your light colors simply by using the pencils and using the bright. So I'm going to go ahead and start. We're going to, I think, maybe we'll do the Chickadee, maybe we'll do the, maybe we'll go ahead and we'll work on this guy because he's prettier. He's got more color to him anyway. So what we're going to start with is we're going to simply start with, and you can see here is my big thing of pencils. I have watercolors in the beginning with my watercolor brush there, and then I have all of these are colored pencils. And I have the largest set from Prismacolors. So I have every color I think known to man, but the one thing you need to make sure you know about your color pencils is they need to be very, very sharp. A pencil that has lost its, I know this one looks sharp to you, okay? I'm going to show you here, but it's not really. And you need to keep a sharpener close by at all times, because you really want that pencil to be as sharp as it can be without having to break the nib, okay? So we're going to go ahead and we're going to start with our branch. And we're starting with a very light color. This is actually called ginger root. And I like starting with the light colors and then going darker, because you can always go darker, but sometimes it's not as easy to lighten it up afterwards. So we're going to go all around the feet. We're just going to do the whole thing, and we're just coloring lightly. We're not trying to shade or anything at this point. The reason we're doing only one is because this does take time, and I don't want you to feel like you have to rush. And quite frankly, the more you rush, the more mistakes you'll make, and the least happy you'll be with your end product. And we want you to be happy. Now, you can shade in here if you want to some. It's no big deal. You just make it comfortable for you. Now you've got one color on here now, and we're going to start with a second color, and I'm going to go with kind of a reddish brown. This is called, if I can read it, this is burnt ochre. I used to burnt sienna, but this is burnt ochre. Like I said, there are many colors in this set. So, and I'm going to go not all over the whole thing, because I want to leave some areas light, okay? And I'm not going to make it really, really dark. I'm not going to put any pressure on it. I'm just going to let the pencil itself make the color just by running it over the branch. You can put some color in different places. You can put more color in some places, less color in other places. And that gives you a second coat. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take a little bit darker. This is more of a gray brown. This is called French gray. French gray is a neutral color, and it works quite well on a number of different things. You'll even find it, believe it or not, when you're doing faces, you'll find people using quite a bit of French gray. So, and I know I hear some people out there. In my mind, I can hear you saying, what? But it's true. And so we're just going to give a few shadows here with our French gray. And I'm hoping that this is something you all wanted to learn. You can do color pencil pictures, if you're an artist, that will take you weeks to do. I did one of my daughter in a real satiny looking gown and put a knight behind her, and then she was holding a frog, and I told her it was her. You got to kiss a lot of frogs to find a prince picture. She thought it was amusing. Anyway, okay, now we've gone back to our first color again, and we're going to go over the whole thing, and this time we're going to put a little pressure on it. And I hope you can see that with putting the pressure on it, it kind of blends all the colors together. And that's because of the oil in it. It's a softer pencil, so it will blend all of these things together. And as you can see, this is kind of a stark look, but this is kind of a nice soft look. Like what you would want to get if you put pastels down. So always liked the look of pastels, but I hated to use them because they were so messy. Some of you may be with me on that. But if you notice, as you blend these together with the lighter color, it doesn't really lighten them up that much, but it does soften them up so that you've got more actual blending of the colors. Now we're going to take a darker brown here, and this one is simply dark brown, and we're going to go over the one side, and this is the side that we would consider probably in the shade. The sun would be coming from this direction. That's something that whenever you're doing any of these, if you're trying to do them in a more artistic way, you need to decide which way your sun would be coming in. So where your shadows would fall, obviously where this little branch is, you'd have a shadow here because this branch would be blocking the sun. So that's just a little basic art lesson there, okay? But you can put as much of this on here as you want. You can make it as dark as you want. Maybe the sun's going down and you only see a little bit of the light left. But then we're going to go back over it with our original color again. And what that does is it just softens up where the shadow lies. So you have a more blended look. It doesn't look quite as stark. In other words, you can't tell directly where the shadow begins and where it ends, and that's kind of what you would see in nature. So there we go. Now we could keep going with this if we wanted to. As you can tell, I started more on this one and did a little more, and this one even more than that. But I wanted to give you the basic of this. Now you could even go a little darker if you want to, put extra shadows in. Maybe you want to put a few knots in your wood. You can do this any way you want. That's the nice thing about using your artistic ideas, because it's your branch. You can make that branch any way you want it to. But I just like to make sure it's blended enough so that I don't have any pieces that just look like it's a piece of pencil in there. I want it to look like it just appeared there, and it's beautiful because it just appeared there. And I think you'll agree that that looks enough like a real branch that we could probably go on. Now what happens is when you're an artist, you always see things that you like to fix, and you'll go back over and over and over again. Now I'm going to turn him around because I have a hard time really paying attention to what I'm doing if I can't see what I'm doing. Now this is not something I would normally do. Normally I would do the eye last, but because this is such a stark vision, I am putting this chickadee's eye. Actually, I don't want to do the chickadee. I wanted to do the wren. And his eye is a little rounder than the chickadee's. And on top of that, there is not really white around the wren. It's more of a gray color. His eye socket, I don't know why they have the gray color, but that's what it is. Now at least he can always see. And what I also noticed on the wren was that on traditional birds you normally see that their beaks are kind of an orangey color like the chickadee. Well, on the wren their beaks are black, so we have to leave a little light area And instead of choosing white, I chose a sky blue, okay? And it's less harsh and it looks a little softer when it's done. Now, with these pieces, you can pretty much put your heavy color on right away. You don't have to worry about blending. Okay, but now you will want to take your sky blue, and where you left it white there, you'll want to go kind of over, a little bit over, both under and over. And what that does is that softens that up some too. Okay, now for his feathers, because I loved doing these feathers, they were just so gorgeous. We're going to start with this one is called Non-Photo Blue, and I'm going to sharpen it because it was a little dull. And we're going to start up here around his eye. Now, obviously, you can do these in any colors you want. But I started out with a lighter blue, and you can make them all black if you want to, but you're not going to get the same look with your bird if you use these extra colors. I think you'll be much happier with them, okay? And we're just going to bring the blue, and you don't have to make it solid. We're just going to bring it kind of around the cowl here. Okay, and then down this area. This is where the light might be hitting the bird, okay? And when the light hits these birds, you can see purples, and you can see blues, and you can see navies, and it's pretty incredible, all the colors that come out when you're actually looking at these birds in light as opposed to shade. If you look at them in shade, all you're going to see from the lovely little guys would be black. They're just going to all look black. But I guarantee you, you look at them with the light hitting them, and you're going to see beautiful, beautiful colors come out. So, now, you don't have to use the same colors I'm using. What I use isn't necessarily the perfect colors. They're just colors I elected to use. Okay. All righty. Going to put him back, and we're going to go with kind of more of a peacock blue. This one is, and we're going to go over this. Make sure you leave your sharp lines in place, and if you want to, you can go over those sharp lines with loops or however it is to make it sharper to you. Now, I'm not coloring this all in because I want to leave a little bit of that light showing. This is where you have fun using all the different colors, is because you're going to see them pop up even after we add the black. Okay. All right. Got that started. Okay, now we're going to go back with our lightest blue here that we used, and we're going to color the whole thing with it. And if you do this in circles, you'll get a smoother look and a better blended look. Okay, you see how this is starting to smooth now. Okay, and we want to go down and around. We want to try to get all of this area. We want to blend that all together. When I was working on these other two birds, I worked on them for about an hour and a half. That's why we're not going to do both of them, because it does take a lot of time. Okay, now I have got violet blue, and this is going to be a dark, dark color. So we're going to start at our edge, and we're just going to add that in. Going to add a few spots going through and add it over here. This is not a technique you want to do if you're trying to do a bunch of cards in a hurry, but if you have special people you want to make cards for, this is a perfect way to do it, because you do come out with a very professional look, and on top of that, it's something that actually your recipient could frame and have a really nice keepsake for something you've done for them. Okay. All right, now we're going to take our lighter color again. We're not going to go all the way back to the lightest blue, but we are going to go to a gray blue. This one is, let's see. Oh, I can't even read this one. Something turquoise, but it's lighter, and we're going to blend this all with that. And again, try to do this in circles, even if they're little tiny circles. And that gives it a smoother look, and it blends better. Okay. And again, this is something nice thing about color pencils, is that you can keep working them, and you can keep adding layers. It's not something that you ever get done with necessarily. You can, if you don't like the look you've got, wait a few days, go back and say, okay, this is what I want to do with it now. I'm going to go all over this again. So we only have flecks of these different colors in there. Okay, now we're going to go to our black. And we're doing this in circles because we want to go ahead and give this a heavy, heavy look. And I'm going to go ahead and draw this flat there. Now, do the circles. The circles keep it from having just such a pencil look to it, okay? Okay. Yeah, we're going to take our lighter color and we're going to blend that. We go straight over the black, because technically, although these birds look black, they're actually just deep, deep, deep blue. So we want to make sure that our bird has a realistic look to it. See, that's starting to blend quite nicely. Okay, go back to our black. We want to put him in here. I'm going to go back and forth to give him the feather look there. Okay, now we're going to go around in circles. And this you can push a little harder on your black pencil to get the really stark black color, okay? Don't forget to do the circles, because the circles are the ones that are going to give you the great color. Okay, now we're going to take our really dark blue again, and we're going to go over all of that with the dark blue. And I ran over my tree a little bit there, so we're going to have to pick that up. That's the nice thing about color pencils. You can always fix it. Okay. Alrighty, we're going to take our lighter color blue and do the same thing with it. So it's going to blend that all together. Okay, that's what we're getting. I hope y'all are liking this, because I sure enjoy doing it. Okay, going on. My black is still doing good, so we're not going to sharpen it just yet. I'm going to go down around the tree and the feather part that's black, and then we're going to color that in with our circles. And I don't know if you can see this well or not, but this is our black that we've gone over with the blues, and you can see this actually looks blacker than just the black. So here we go over this with the dark blue, and actually adding these colors gives it more of an appearance of it being all one and all the colors that it's supposed to be. There we go. Yeah, it gives it a soft black. All right, then back to the back of the bird. And let's align the tree here. Okay, and color this in circles. As I look at this now, I think it looks more gray than black, but it is black, people. It's just that the more color you put on it, the blacker it looks. I've seen some of the prettiest birds, and they were just black birds, and my husband would say, but that's just a black bird. And I said, well, really, it's not. Look at it in the sun. I said, there's purple in there. And he thinks I'm a little crazy, but that's okay. You got to be a little crazy to have fun in life. Okay, and we put in our dark blue, and we're going to go over it all with the lighter blue, and then I think even lighter to blend this into the black. Okay, one more little area here on the bird's back. And we'll go ahead and we'll do these little feathers in here. And these feathers in here. And there, we've got those. Now we're going to take the purplish blue here, and we're going to go over all of those with that. Just like that. Okay, and then the lighter one, so we can blend them all together. Again, circles, remember the circles. Makes a huge difference if you use circles as opposed to a back and forth movement. There we have our black starting to really show up now. And I guess you guys are wondering, now, how am I going to do this area that's supposed to be white. Well, first of all, his feet aren't exactly white, but they're not exactly any color else either. So we're using this light blue just to give them a possibility of a slight color. And then the nails on the bird, his little talons, are black. So we just set those at the end so you can see them. And that's his talon coming around there too. Okay, now for his breast and the ruff around his neck, we're going to do two things. And you guys are going to say, huh? What are you doing that for? We are going to use white that you're not going to be able to see, but we are going to go over it and over it here. And we're doing this all in white. Sometimes your pencil seems to want to give you little crumblies, and sometimes you just have to wipe those off. If you have a little brush handy, that's even better. And we're going to do that all on his breast. So he's got all going to be white. Little flecks of whatever happens to be on your white pencil, which could be grays, it could be anything else, but let's face it, birds is not always going to be pure anything because they fly around into just about everything. Okay, now we're going to take our very pale blue, and we're just going to go over that lightly, little circles. If you notice in nature frequently, or in an old woman's hair, you can look at mine for that matter, you see blue and purple highlights in there in the colors of white. And that's because white is not necessarily white. White is the presence of all colors. So therefore, everything that you see in white is actually in nature. So, and then we're going to take, let's see, I've lost it here, a little tiny, no, that's not the right one. Let's go back this way. Ah, here we go. We're going to take a little bit of a gray pencil here. This one is cool gray. And we're just going to go over the ruff a little here. Okay. And we're going to put a little shadow underneath it with the gray. It's cool gray. It's very, very light. But we're putting a little shadow under the ruff so it shows up a little bit better. Okay. And we're going to give him a few maybe darker feathers in here. Not a lot, but some. And we're going to give him some shape by pulling that gray all around. Just like that. And that gives him a little bit of a shape that you might not see otherwise. And then we're going to go back over it and we'll sharpen that up a little with our white. And soften it all up. And that's going to give us a softer look to our bird. And it's going to give it a little bit better, more realistic appearance to the bird, because he wouldn't be completely white. You'd see different colors because of the different areas of sunlight hitting him. If you turn this to the side and hold it up in the light and wiggle it around, you can tell if you have done a good job of blending or not. And if you feel like you haven't, just keep blending and keep going over it, because you're not going to ever do too much. It's always going to add to it, no matter what you do, I promise you. That's the nice thing about color pencils. You can't overdo with them because they look better. The more you use them, the better they look. And if you'll notice, when you get close to your finished product also, you're going to have a very shiny look of your bird. I don't know if you can see how shiny that is. That's the oil coming through. That's from working the pencil. And I think that that's what makes color pencil so much more fascinating than using a lot of mediums. Now, this is not strictly stamping, but I'll tell you something. I think this is something that you can do and really enjoy, especially if you're sitting in front of a TV set and you want to do something creative, but you don't want to bring all of your equipment in. Haul your color pencils in and your stamped object that you want to color, and there you go. You've got all kinds of really neat ideas to go with. Rachel, thank you for the question. The color pencils are regular colored pencils. These are Prismacolors. There are many colored pencils out there. There's not necessarily one that I would suggest over another. However, I like Prismacolor. I like the oil base in them. The Staedtler is a very good color pencil. There are probably many, many more of them out there that are just as good. But you need to check the oil content of a pencil to see if it's going to blend the way you want it to blend. Watercolor pencils are made completely different. They're not made with any oil in them at all. And the next podcast we do will work with watercolor pencils as well. But I don't want to spend all of our time doing just pencils. I would go ahead and these are the cards, like I said, I made out of the watercolor. These are the ones that I started with, and I realized that I really wanted to show the colored pencils because I haven't really seen much on anybody's podcast, or for that matter, or on YouTube, of using colored pencils on the cards, and they really make the birds pop. I mean, these are such brilliant pictures of these birds. This came from Better With You. This is one of the sets of stamps in our annual catalog, and I love this bird. Actually, a friend of mine, Heather, pointed it out to me. I got a calendar from her that she did one of them, and I fell in love with the bird and had to have it. So since then, I've decided I want to watercolor him, I want to color pencil him, and I may do other things with him as well because I really think he's a good-looking, sexy bird, okay? Anyway, that's all we're going to do for our podcast tonight. We don't want it to go on and on and on, okay? But take your color pencils, buy the most extensive set you can afford, simply because you want to have all the colors on hand. But for sure, if you're going to do one project to start to see if you like it, I suggest you buy several colors of the blues, several of the browns, several of the blacks, whatever project you're doing. If you're doing a flower, say you're doing a red flower, don't forget to buy the light pinks and the whites and in between, because you'll want to use all those colors to blend it together and make it look the best it can be. A true good color pencil project will always pop right off paper, and people will say, oh my gosh, how did you do that? I get that every time I do one. So anyway, you all have a wonderful evening and enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.